My name is Rachel Zrihan. I am a freelance journalist. I've been in the journalism field for 30 years.
And do you have kids?
Two of them, both boys.
So you raised them into a Jewish lifestyle, your children?
Well, I don't know exactly what that means. They knew they were Jews, always, like I did, always, but there wasn't a lot of observance going on. We knew we were Jews, we knew who we are.
So when you grew up, what would you do as Jews?
We did Hanukkah. We also did Christmas, not at our house, but at my aunt and uncle's house. Well, like I said, I raised them Jewish, kind of like I was raised Jewish. The difference is, though, that both of my sons were bar mitzvahed, and my brother was not. My dad wasn't, you know. But the reason that happened, actually, is an interesting story. We were living on the peninsula and renting a house, and the landlord got married and decided at 40-something that he wanted his house back. In the middle of the school year, during the worst rains, it was like a monsoon, like in the history of the Bay Area. We ended up here, which was far away from everything. So I felt like I needed to find an anchor for them. I got them involved in the Boy Scouts and the synagogue. It's the first time I ever belonged to a synagogue. They put on a play, Fiddler on the Roof, and we were involved in that. We made a whole lot of friends that we're still friends with now. That was in 1999. So that was, it turned out to be a pretty good thing. Another reason why I signed them up at a synagogue, was that Schindler's List came out. And I assumed that it was just another Holocaust kind of movie. So I let my 9-year-old watch it. It was a terrible mistake. He came out from that convinced that obviously there's no God if such a thing could happen. I better do something to counteract that. That was another reason why we signed up at the synagogue.
So you raised them to believe that there is a God?
My parents were devout atheists, and my dad was the smartest person I ever knew. So that's been a hindrance for me to believing in God, right? Because he really didn't. And the message was, anyone who does is a fool. Man created God, not the other way around. So I've never pressed it. I let them come to their own conclusions. So far, I think I've got one of each. My oldest one, he's gotten involved in Chabad up in Phoenix. Very involved.
And the younger one?
Not so much at all. No, he's more like my dad that way. He's pretty sure it's a Bubba mindset. But I don't know what I believe either. I don't know that there is a higher power out there. Maybe there is. I hope so. I mean, I've prayed. I feel silly doing it.
So you said earlier before that you're working 30 years as a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that that's part of your purpose?
I don't know. I don't know if I have a purpose. It sort of feels like maybe it's sounding the alarm for the rising antisemitism. I started noticing antisemitism where I'd never seen it before. In my newsroom, for instance. I started writing my column about that. And I got called into the office one day, and he wanted me to stop doing it. It's causing controversy. They were getting letters and, complaining. And there was a lot of anti-Semitism in those letters. Mostly in the guise of anti-Israelism, anti-Zionism. He tried to tell me, my boss, there's no anti-Semitism in this country. And I said, you're not paying attention. I'm more concerned about my kids than me, actually.
So did you ever feel that anti-Semitism personally?
Oh, yeah. I don't I don't know anyone who's Jewish, who grew up in this place in the United States, who says that they never experienced any anti-Semitism is lying or mistaken. My cousin was telling me once she was in the middle of the mountains someplace, and she went in to get a holiday card, some kind of Jewish holiday card at this pharmacy there. And she couldn't see any, so she asked. And the guy behind the counter, the pharmacist or whoever, said, "Oh my God, another Jew." She said, "What, there's more?"
So what are you doing to change it?
I write what I write. That's the only thing I can do.
Today, can you feel more proud to be a Jewish family in this town?
I was never a I'm going to hide it thing. I don't think you can with my name, you know, and I wouldn't want to.
And if I ask you, when do you feel Jewish?
All the time. I remember once in the chorus, in the choir, the teacher, I think it was middle school, junior high, sent us home with, we're going to learn how to sing Onward Christian Soldiers. And I'd never heard of it, didn't know about it, mentioned it to my parents, who said, "No, you're not. Go to the school, tell her you're not. You know, you're Jewish, you're not doing it." And I wasn't the only one who came to school the next day with that message.
A lot of the work that you do is about Judaism, is about Zionism.
It's about Jewishness.
So what is Jewishness?
I think Jewishness is different from Judaism. Judaism is the religion. I think you can be a non-Jew and practice Judaism. But I think also that to be Jewish is to be a descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whether you like it or not, and you can't convert out of it. You know, it's like being Italian or German or whatever. That is what you are. I feel that way about Jewishness, not Judaism. So I believe that there's such a thing as you could be a Jewish Buddhist, you could be a Jewish Christian. You know, you're a Jew practicing a different religion. That's how I see it. I know that is not how the Orthodox believe, but that's the conclusion I've come to.
For non-Jews that are watching this video, how would you explain to them what Judaism is?
Judaism, I don't know very much about. Jewishness, on the other hand, it's hard to explain, but you know it when you see it.
It's more like of a sense.
I guess. It's a way of being. You know, we talk like this.
So if you now look to the generation underneath you, what would you tell them to help them and to basically how to deal with all of what's going on in the world today?
Honestly, I don't know if there's a cure. It seems to be an incurable and very contagious disease. It's been going on for a really, really long time, and it defies reason and logic, and yet it still exists. I don't know how to solve it. I haven't found any case where one of these big anti-Semitic pushes has been stopped before it reached its conclusion. I don't know if it's stoppable. You know, it has to go all the way to the end, and you end up with a big pile of dead Jews, and then they have to feel bad and build memorials to a big pile of dead Jews until the next time it happens. But I guess we have to go all the way back to the Bible to find a case when one of these episodes stopped before it ran its course. Doesn't help much.
So do you have anything else you would like to add or to tell the people that are watching that's important for you?
I'm hoping that more people are able to read and understand the writing on the wall than were able to do so when the last one happened. They didn't believe it because there was nothing at that magnitude ever before, and they didn't believe it. But I hope that enough people recognize it this time that they're able to believe. And fortunately, Israel exists. It's a big difference between that time and this time. Maybe it's enough.
Thank you.
Thank you.